So this one's from Max. I'm lying in a hospital bed waiting for a major operation tomorrow, my third in 3 years, and I feel pretty tired. I'd love to have a distraction, and I always love listening to the Direct every Friday, which will be when I have said operation. My question
Oh
is,
my.
what is something happening in gaming currently that really makes you happy? Something that you notice that piques your interest. Best to you all. Yeah, that's a nice question, isn't it, Alex? First of all, best wishes to to Max on
Please
his
be well.
operation. Yeah, and I'm glad that we can help in some
Hmm.
small way. But yeah, what makes you happy about gaming, Alex? Obviously, you've had a rant or two this particular episode.
Without the rants.
So
Uh
yeah, let's
I'm a
imagine the table is actually a reverse flip of the table. You're writing the table
yeah.
and saying nice things about gaming.
I really love the new approach in indie scene to go back to old genres and bring them back. People say boomer shooter with a joke, but for me, I've had some of my most fun in gaming playing more recent boomer shooter games, and or else there's been a number of really great strategy games that have come out in the last couple of years that are not AAA at all, and that I've played more than I've played any AAA game. So I think I'm really, really happy to see those coming back, and in big terms. And we've got studios like Night Dive who take the old ones and make them new again. The really good classic titles. So I'm always really happy to see these old things being brought back.
Well, John, you're generally a positive person. You spend a lot of time gaming.
Generally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
generally. And you spend a lot of time gaming, so I'm assuming that you're still all in on it and have got lots of
Yeah.
nice things to say about it.
Sure. Yeah. I actually want to just say that I think gaming's in a really good place these days. And when you look at what is available to people, it's honestly staggering. Uh, there is everything from classic stuff from the 80s, 90s available up through all these modern games. And there's so many different types of genres that have explored. There's the indie, there's the AAA, there's stuff in between. Like, we've never had so much quality accessible to so many people at a time in history for this medium. There is just so much stuff out there to play. And there's so many things that I love being able to discover new stuff that I didn't even know about. And it just, something shows up and you're like, wow, this is really amazing. And that feeling is just awesome. And it happens
Mm-hmm.
more and more these days. It's just, I love that these things happen. So like I can enjoy my classic pixel art stuff, but then I can enjoy super ultra cutting edge visuals as well, and everything in between, and just the amount of quality gaming, the improvements to the technology powering it as well. Like, when I play this stuff on all the different screens in my house, like, we've reached a point where just looking at this stuff is like pleasing to me, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
I feel great. And I really felt this joy recently. I talked about Bomb Rush Cyberpunk recently on DF Direct, and
Right.
just that perfect pairing of the music and the visual style and the gameplay. Man, I was beaming while playing it. It just made me happy to play that game. And that's the kind of moment where you sit back and realize, man, this stuff is great.
Hmm.
So try to
Right.
remember all the good stuff about it. We love to nitpick and sometimes, rant about stuff, but in general, uh, there's, it's awesome. And also just, there's so much range of hardware too. Like, not everything needs to be the most cutting edge. It's fun to look at what people are doing and on less capable machines. It's fun to look at what's been done in the past and just try to appreciate it all for what it is.
Absolutely. I think that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the takeaways of the Nintendo Direct, which is that, the Switch is essentially now using an 8-year-old piece of technology, and yet the games still look great, right? Because gaming transcends the hardware that it's actually being run on. Certainly in the case of Nintendo stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's so much diversity, length and breadth in terms of the type of experiences available that it's quite phenomenal. You don't really see that in movies anymore. That sort of
Mm-hmm.
diversity. You do see it in gaming. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, we kind of lost that.
Well put.
I over the weekend I rewatched Commando, which is one of my favorites from the 80s. And I just thought about, like, wait a minute, like a movie that just has just this random plot of stuff happening. It feels like studios are afraid to do this stuff these days. We just don't see it. It always has to be some kind of bigger thing connected to a giant franchise. And I just like the 80s, 90s, like, I, not to just drone on nostalgia here, but there's just movies that come out of nowhere where it's just, here's a fun story idea. let's make a film about it.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
interesting
it's
that with Oppenheimer and Barbie being so successful this year, that it's actually the original movies
That is good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
That is
really
good.
interesting. What makes me happy about gaming? It's sort of ties into the question of why I'm still in the gaming journalism game after decades, and the reason why is you never really know what's coming next. Even though there's, obviously massive marketing campaigns,
Yeah.
and whatnot, but it's turned into this massive industry. The point is that there's always something amazing around the corner, and you want to know what it is, and you want to be a part of it. That's why I'm happy about being part of of the whole sort of gaming scene. It's just incredible. And I guess that's also extends to hardware as well. You just don't really know what's happening with hardware either.
Right.
Just when you see something like DLSS 3.5 pop up out of nowhere, and properly game changing stuff is happening at a rapid pace, and it's just phenomenal. That's why I really really love my job, and I guess that pretty much sums it up.